Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today we're going to be talking about honorary citizens of the United States. Now, right off the bat I'll say certain honorary citizens were not founders, so I'm going to briefify them pretty quickly. But honorary citizenship, I don't want you to confuse with anything like permanent residence or visas or anything like that. An honorary citizen, to my understanding, is someone who was granted this honorary citizenship by either Congress, or Congress gave the president the right to announce a proclamation that they were an honorary citizen. It doesn't actually make someone a citizen. It's just more of a thank you card for someone who's done such great international work that they should be an American. So more or less that's how it came about. Now, the first honorary citizen wasn't granted until 1963, apparently, and it was Winston Churchill during his lifetime. Again, this is a Founders channel. I'm going to breeze past this. I don't care to discuss whether or not many of these people deserve citizenship, honorary citizenship or not. I'm going to get right to the good stuff because there are some founders, and they were surprisingly recently. So Winston Churchill in 1963, and then in 1981, a man named Raoul Wallenberg, who apparently was a Swedish man, who helped save several Jews from the Holocaust, or a lot of Jews from the Holocaust. He was given honorary citizenship. Didn't do a lot of research into him. Kind of a random person. The first person, I should say two people, who kind of fit into the time frame I usually discuss are William Penn and his wife Hannah Calloway Penn, who were both in 1984 awarded honorary citizenship at the same time. William Penn, of course, the founder of Pennsylvania, and his spouse Hannah, when William had a seizure, she took over and basically ran Pennsylvania, and even after he passed away, she continued to run it. So they're the ones who grew Pennsylvania. It's hard for me. I didn't do a ton of research into this in particular, but I am surprised that Pennsylvania, but not any of the other colonies, who have people who ran the colony that were awarded honorary citizenship. Like I said, this is back in 1984, so it's not like they were going to do a series of colony founders. They just did these two. Apparently, I have no words. I have no explanation. Again, it falls a little out of my purview. They're a little bit before, they're really colonial more than revolutionary, and that's, well, I do dip into colonial because every single founder was a colonial before the revolution. I don't really go back to the 1600s too often, which is when the primary amount of their work was done. After that was Mother Teresa in 1996, who was the second of two with Churchill to be made honorary citizens in their lifetime. And then we get into the good stuff. Numbers 6, 7, and 8. There were only 8 people ever awarded honorary citizenship for the United States. And 6, 7, and 8 were all founders and were all surprisingly recently. So in 2002, the Marquis de Lafayette is awarded honorary citizenship. Yeah, less than 20 years ago, Marquis de Lafayette became an honorary citizen. Now, you probably know, if you're watching something about the American Revolution, you're probably nerdy enough to know that the Marquis de Lafayette was an important Frenchman who snuck away from France as a very young man, came to America, won the admiration of George Washington and all who met him, and helped lead soldiers to victory, helped recruit weaponry and support from the French. There's a Lafayette Street in every town in America. And so therefore he deserves to be an honorary citizen because we've given him all the other honors we possibly could. After that, in 2009, just a decade ago, Casimir Pulaski was given honorary citizenship. Now, Pulaski's a really interesting character too, because he was a revolutionary in Poland who, I won't get too into it here, but more or less overthrew the powers that be in Poland. But eventually, apparently he's a little hard to get along with, and eventually he was kind of kicked out of Poland, or should I say run out of town, and he fled first to France, and that's when he ran into Silas Deane, who was over in France handing out generalships all willy-nilly like. And he came over to the United States and is credited as one of really two founders of the United States cavalry. And his work with the cavalry helped us win the war. Unfortunately, he was killed in the war during the siege of Savannah. So not only did he come here and fight for the American cause and become a hero, but he died. And he's not only a hero to Americans, but he's actually still a hero to many Poles for his actions against the powers that be, as I said earlier. So Casimir Pulaski, I'll probably make a whole video on him because he's a really fascinating character. He's the Polish founding father, or should I say Polish-Lithuanian founding father. And for someone like me who has many nationalities stuffed into, I'm an American mutt, I like to say. I've got a good amount of Lithuanian in me, and that makes me kind of proud. And then the last person to be granted honorary citizenship, and this was inspired by an article I wrote yesterday on this same person, was just 5 years ago. Well, it's almost 2020, so almost 6 years ago, was Bernardo de Galvez. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bernardo de Galvez was a Spanish man who was the territorial governor of Louisiana. And the war breaks out, and eventually we get France on our side, and it's all often overlooked that, like, after France came in 1779, Spain also joined the American Revolutionary War to fight for our freedom, basically. I mean, a lot of it was like everyone hated Britain and were eager to start a war with Britain. But Galvez was in Louisiana. He received word, we're at war now. So he recruited not only his soldiers, but raised militia, which included Native Americans and black men of color, as they were known at the time. We would call them black patriots, is traditionally how we refer to them. I'm sorry, free men of color, not black men of color, free men of color, although they are often referred to as black patriots, and our Acadians, who came down from France when British came. So they're the reason that there's a lot of French influence in Louisiana for seemingly no reason. So he had this big multicultural army, and as soon as he got word, he waited for a hurricane to pass, and then he went up the Mississippi and cleared the British out of the Mississippi and took the Mississippi. Really for Spain, but we were friendly and we were sharing that trade value. Then he went back to Louisiana and he would go to Florida. And at the time, Florida was East and West Florida. It was two Floridas. And Galvez, I don't want to say he conquered Florida, but he rid us of the British. He took care of them because, the British fighting in the South, the war ends in the South. It ends in Yorktown, which is kind of in the middle. But the second half of the war, under Nathaniel Greene, most of the important fighting was done in the South. So the fact that the British were also defending themselves from Spain even further south was uniquely important to winning the war. And he is extremely underrated until about 6 years ago when Bernardo de Galvez was given honorary citizenship of the United States, as well he deserves. Again, I don't want to argue about everyone on this list because they fall out of our purview, but as far as Lafayette, Pulaski, and Galvez, they absolutely deserve honorary citizenship. And before we let you go, the video is running a little long, I'm sorry, but before I let you go, there's an interesting thing about Lafayette. In 1784, after the war ended, the state of Maryland granted Lafayette and his heirs a Maryland citizenship. Now, under the Articles of Confederation, that meant that citizenship was done by the state, so it didn't much matter to the Articles of Confederation. But when the Constitution was enacted, if you were already a natural-born citizen, which is what it says in the Maryland statement granting this to Lafayette, if you're a natural-born citizen, then you are now an American citizen. So Lafayette actually holds this weird distinction about being an American citizen and being an honorary citizen, because there was some debate going on at the time, and Congress in 2002 basically said, let's just give it to him anyway, he deserves it. So That's a fun little video that actually took a lot longer. I thought it would be a lot quicker. About honorary citizenship in the United States, specifically regarding the founders. If you like this video, please hit like. Helps me out, spread the word. If you just stumbled onto this video and you want to hear more, I put out videos 5 days a week. Please subscribe. And if you want to support me, I will put a link in the bottom to my Patreon page that I just started. I have several tiers with lots of fun rewards I'm giving out. So please let me know what you think, and I will talk to you tomorrow.